Kalvin Phillips is practically a hammer. You know the story now. Deal agreed with Manchester City. Medical booked. He's on his way. Happy days. You know who this guy is. It's his hat trick. If this was Soccer AM, Steve, you'd get a football right now. But it's not dream. Soccer AM, so you don't have a football.
Well, I'm feeling very disappointed. You've let me down.
That's what we do on this channel. We let everyone down, not just you. So we're not picking on you, Steve. It's everyone. We let everyone down.
Comes with the West Ham territory, doesn't it?
Yeah,
so
consistency. People want consistency. We're giving them consistency. Anyway, Kalvin Phillips, what you thinking regarding this transfer?
I think I was probably the only person quite happy that there was potentially not an obligation to buy, just because obviously his well-known injury issues and his wages and the potential fee he could command being very high. I was just a bit worried that we could see a classic West Ham transfer of player joins, suddenly gets injured, and it's all been a huge financial mess. But to be honest, even I'm quite happy with it. You know, this is a player of great quality. He's an England international, and he'll be coming in with a point to prove. He'll want to get in the squad for the Euros, and when you've got a player like that potentially coming in, like we saw with Lingard, it's almost a no-lose situation. They're going to make money off shirt sales from it. You know, there's going to be West Ham fans who want Phillips on the back of their shirt, and I'm sure it's just going to add another layer to the midfield. I'm quite happy with it, to be honest.
Did you feel a replacement or a competition for Edson Alvarez was important coming into the January transfer window?
Not really. I think he's been a fantastic performer for us, and you really notice it when he's not in the side. I think that goes without saying. But I think it just gives us a lot more flexibility. We can either rotate in, and, you know, as he likes to pick up bookings, we can put Phillips there, or maybe even play both of them. And I know we're going to lead on to potentially who comes out the side for it, but I think it's almost a no-lose situation where you can have a player of quality to come in and almost shake things up entirely, because it will take so much pressure off the centre backs, and particularly when Zuma doesn't look at his quickest. I'm saying that to be nice, and we have got some error-prone centre backs. Having someone like Phillips who can just sit in front, has played centre back at times under Bielsa, I think it's a really good move.
Yeah, and Alvarez also played centre back prior to being moved to defensive midfielder. So you've almost bringing in Phillips. It gives you two players in an emergency situation you could utilise as cover for centre backs as well. In regards to, like you said, hinting there about who you might like to see come out of midfield in order to make way for Callum Phillips, do you have a preference?
I don't really. It's the obvious one, isn't it? Look, I think it's got to be Souček who's dropped. I think the only thing is there's a lot of vitriol, self-patting on the back, and also people just unnecessarily harsh on Souček. So I think it's just it's a tough one, because he does massively. You lose a lot of the set piece threat you get with Souček when you take him out of the side. You lose a lot of the combativeness in the squad when you drop him. But I think in terms of ball playing ability and what Phillips can bring, again, another set piece taker, someone who can deliver quality crosses into the area, I think you gain a lot. So I'm going to look at it in a very positive way and say, if you have a player like Souček on the bench, you can bring on after 70 minutes and just say, look, Souček, just go on, run, throw yourself at everything, go and cause some chaos. That is a blessing in disguise. It's something we've not had in years.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I think the set piece aspect of Phillips means you're not relying on James Ward. James Ward-Prowse doesn't need to be on the pitch if Callum Phillips is on the pitch, because you've got your replacement there for taking the corners and that. And I think there's sometimes been an element of, if you were to substitute Ward-Prowse, set piece deliveries take a hit, but then you can't take off Souček because you're keeping Ward-Prowse on to take the set pieces, but then you're taking the guy off that's going to attack the set pieces. I think what Kalvin Phillips does allows you to actually take Ward-Prowse out of the team if you want to and leave Souček in and let him be the one that's further ahead of Phillips and Alvarez. I just think it gives Moyes great options in the middle of the pitch, and it just takes away this reliance on Edson Alvarez, because it's on 7 yellow cards at the minute. So inevitably, he's got 2 game suspension coming up. He's probably going to miss after the international break. He's always iffy after the international break as to whether he's fit or not. There's only 17 games left in the Premier League. Already we're scoring all 3, and I'm not even sure if there's an international break in April. There might be. So suddenly it's like, hang on a minute, you have a quarter of the games left in the Premier League. Alvarez is going to be unavailable for. So I think bringing in Phillips is wise in that. Now, the option to buy, I agree with what you said at the start, by the way. You don't want an obligation. I wouldn't want an obligation to buy this. I think that would be terrible. But we do have the option, and the fee roughly is about 34 million. I think it comes to about 40 million in total if we buy him in the summer, loan fee and transfer fee combined. I'm pleased to see that in there, truth be told, Steve. I don't like loans without an option to buy a la Jesse Lingard, because if it works out, you're then stuck. But the option just gives you, well, literally what it says on the tin, the option to pick him up if it works out for you. Now, you're someone that prefers much more of a long-term approach to transfers. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, I think it's probably quality and longevity that I look for the most in transfers.
I would suggest that Callum Phillips perhaps isn't that in regards to his age profile and so on and so forth. But do you feel that this is maybe a fair compromise in terms of long-term versus ready for now kind of transfer?
Yeah, I think it is. Look, he's undoubtedly a player of quality, and it would be remiss of me to say otherwise. I think, getting an England international on loan is a huge statement. And look, his wages are going to be very big. Whether we can negotiate at the end of the season and say, look, he's missed a few games or his wages are high, maybe we can lower the fee that we're going to pay. I think that will be key. But I've got to say, I'm fairly happy with the deal. I think it's not. I would want to be paying around £25 million because he's missed so much football. And you look at the total of the deal and you think, okay, we're going to be paying what, a £5 to £6 million loan fee is rumoured, and then £35 million. So Man City will be very happy, because essentially they've lost £9 million transfer value off a player that they paid, £49 million for, and got very little football out of. So they're going to be over the moon. But it's just, I can't really find fault with it. Moyes has got his man that he's wanted for years. And if that then gives, say, Tim Steidten a bit more freedom to go out and find other targets, or, there's that bit more trust between him and Moyes and the board, then I think it's a win-win.
Well, we'll be talking about one of Tim Steidten's transfer targets in just a second. We've got 3 more players to quickly discuss. But for a little bit of fun, I'm not going to hold you to this, but just as a bit of a barometer, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 you hate it, 10 you love it, Kalvin Phillips transfer, what are you saying?
I'm going to give it, I'm going to be kind. I'm going to give it an 8. And I think that's mostly because it's a loan, but also because, look, it is a big statement. And the clubs who were reportedly interested have kind of fallen out the way. And this is Moyes' man. So hopefully, as I mentioned, it's going to give a bit more freedom to someone like Tim Steidten, Mark Noble, all those kind of backroom staff to put players forward to Moyes. And he's going to have a bit more faith in them because he's got his man. He knows he's got that spine of the team that he can trust. And I'm very happy with it. It's... Look, if he does pick up an injury, I will be changing my tune. But for the moment, I think great depth addition. It's not an outrageous fee. And if he signs on a permanent, it will only be on the back of, hopefully, a very successful end to the season.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It has to be a very successful loan spell in order for us to sign a check for 34 million at the end of it. It's got to be probably an 8 out of 10 performance from him and being available for the remainder of the season. Otherwise, well, no, thank you. It's cost us 5 million to find out, but this isn't the deal for us. I think the club have protected themselves very well to cut our losses, but also protected ourselves very well in case it's a success. We've already got the fee agreed Man City, so they can't hike the price up off the back of a Jesse Lingard purple patch, if you like. Anyway, we're going to be discussing Bradley Locke, Ibrahim Osman, and a Newcastle striker that has strangely been linked to West Ham in the last 24 hours or so. But before we do, I just want to point in the direction of our online store because we're running our big sale. We started the Boxing Day sale. Bigger. We started on Boxing Day. We just added stuff to it, including all of our designs from the Europa Conference League range, including this T-shirt. Not this exact T-shirt. This is my one. You're not getting it, but it's brand new ones, ready to rock and roll. Once it's gone, it's gone. We're not restocking any of the Conference League winners range. So that's all there, including the beer mats as well. And also, our player ratings books are completely free. Nothing. There's no catches. There's no codes. Just go on there, add it to your checkout and pay for your shipping, and we'll send it out to you. 2 per customer, though. You can't go on there and grab about 10. You're only allowed 2 per customer. But books are free. Shirts are discounted. Beer mats are discounted. Go check out the links in the description and the pinned comments. Right then, Steve, the reason I got you on, because I know a little bit about Kalvin Phillips, right? But I don't know anything about Bradley Locke. I don't even know if I'm saying his name right. Is it Locke or Loco?
I say Loco.
We'll just call him
I
Bradley.
could be butchering it, but it's the league on commentators. I don't tend that they're not very good. I just tend to mute them and have it on in the background and watch what's going on. So I'm a bit mean that way, I suppose.
To be fair, the things that wind me up a lot about football at the minute is commentaries and stuff like that, where you find yourself disagreeing with them a little bit, and you say, "Oh, this is why this player's in such good form." What form have you been looking? But anyway, regardless, Bradley Locke, let's call him that. What do you make of him? Tell us who he is for the people watching.
So he's currently playing at Stade Brest. They signed him after a loan spell from Reims, who we will have a very good relationship with, hopefully, because of that coaching man who is a big West Ham fan. But he is widely regarded as one of the best left backs in France at the moment. He's just 21. He's under 6 foot, just about. But he's built, he's strong, he's quick, and he's very good on the ball. I think this is a really, really exciting player to be linked with. It's got great long-term vision. I know we were just kind of discussing the options of that. And I think this is that kind of perfect mix of quality and longevity as well, particularly when you think that if you've got Emerson and him to be able to kind of learn off, or if Emerson goes in front of him, he's very good with his link-up play. And it's not really been reflected in a lot of his stats this season. He's only really been responsible for 1 assist in the league. But anyone watching this who doesn't know much about Brest, they have also got Steve Mounier, who used to be at Huddersfield. So that kind of gives you an idea of what he's working with up top. He's not got the best finishers, but his ability on the ball and delivery is very good, I'd say. It's something that when you think he's going to be coming into a side, hopefully, with Kudus, Bowen, those sort of players, that level will greatly improve. So I'm really happy with it. I've got some stat stuff if you want me to reel it off for you.
I am a geek. Hans might be watching this, so read them out.
So on average, he delivers about 2 balls into the game, and about 34% of his crosses are accurate. So it's pretty impressive stuff. And as I mentioned, he's not always got the best attack to work with, but he is very, very rarely dispossessed. As I mentioned, he's very strong on the ball and he's got good height to him. But it's his pace that tends to be able to mean he can hold off a man, turn, and then get away from them as well. It's one of those things where Brest tend to play a 4-3-3 and kind of mirrors what we're doing at the moment. However, he's got that good balance, just like Emerson, where he can go forward, but also he is strong at the back. And one of the things that he does love is a tackle. And on average, he is also getting involved in about 2 tackles a game, but winning back possession. So really exciting stuff. great player to be linked with, and long may this sort of thing continue.
And the transfer rumour itself was that we're looking to buy him and loan him back for the remainder of the season, which, again, is ticking a lot of the boxes and as to what we were hoping to see from Tim Steidten, I think.
Yeah, I think it's smart because it gets him continually, playing first team football, and he's not going to miss out. He's not just going to come in and be sat on the bench behind Emerson, who has been fantastic this season. I think it might also signal that Cresswell's departing, and we've got that replacement lined up already, which is fantastic. It then also means we have a bit more freedom to replace Cresswell with a homegrown player in a different area of the pitch.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I've never heard of him, but in terms of the profile of the signing, this is what I'm waiting for. This is what I'm excited for. I keep saying I'm going to do a video about Steidten. I will, right? But the Kudus signing, the Alvarez signing, I'm impressed by the signing. He's done the negotiations, and I believe he's done the negotiations for Kalvin Phillips as well himself. Good. I'm impressed by that. But in terms of player identification, I'm not impressed so far. I'm not unimpressed, but I'm waiting. I'm waiting for something. And this is the type of transfer that would get me excited and make me more hopeful for Steidten's influence in transfers to be a success at West Ham. Because when I know we're not going to discuss this player because you'll laugh as much as I will, but when we got linked to Boniface, it's like, well, A, unrealistic, but also B, going after the leading goal scorer in the Bundesliga, it doesn't take much imagination or scouting, right? But this is where I think this is where a club benefits from having someone like Tim Steidten versus a club like West Ham pre-Tim Steidten, where you're aware of these players and then you have the ability to go and get them as well. You look at Brighton, they do a lot of their transfers in January with this type of deal. Buy them, loan them back. Aston Villa have just completed one today as well. Buy him, loan him back. We'll worry about him in the future. But there's good deals to be done in January for players that you don't necessarily need today in the first team. So I'm excited by this one. What about Ibrahim Osman? ExWHUEmployee was on here just over a week ago, Steve, and he said, this is our number one target. He said, regardless of Benrahma leaving, we want this player. Steidten wants him, Noble wants him, and David Moyes wants him. He said, they all want him. He's our number one guy. Other journalists are running with it today. Do you know much about him?
Look, it would be remiss of me to say that I watch every single game he plays. I am very lucky that I have a VPN that is absolutely fantastic, and I get a lot of sports packages from around the world. But I've mostly seen him in the Conference League. That's been where I've mostly seen him. However, I've managed to catch the odd game here and there. As again, this is one where I very much have the commentary off, because I just the pronunciation is quite heavy for me. It's a bit too much, but the most important thing about him is that he is just absolutely ballistically quick. He is so fast. He's quicker than Kudus, he's quicker than Bowen, and it's the sort of player that we haven't had on that left-hand side for the last few seasons. We've seen Cornet, but he's quick. He's definitely quicker than Cornet. And in terms of comparisons to Benrahma, it's just that level above. Don't get me wrong, he's not as proven in terms of the league that he plays in. The Championship is, in my opinion, slightly better than the Danish league, but I don't want to be too controversial there. But he has really shone in Europe in the Conference League. And, it's a competition we know. But he has got 2 goals and 1 assist in the Conference League. And he has only started 6 games there. So it's contribution-wise, that's pretty good. He's very, very capable. It's just the decision-making that needs to improve. Because, as I mentioned, his pace can beat a man. He's got great feet, great first touch. It's just the decision making, whether to cut it back or whether to find a player. But someone like Kudus, who also from Ghana, someone he probably looks up to, that's going to be massive for him.
Just for a bit of fun, I like getting barometers. I like context. When you see something, and someone's trying to tell you how big it is, I'm like, well, I need a bit of perspective here. Put it next to like a 500ml Coca-Cola bottle or something, then I can determine if it's tall or not, right? Bradley Locke, out 1 to 10, how much are you keen on seeing him at West Ham?
10, I'd say.
Ooh,
yeah, I really rate him. I think in terms of the modern fullback, he's got it all, but he can also defend. And if he were to come in long term, I think we're really set for left backs. You know, it's the kind of position that I do want someone like Alfie Doughty to come in and have that homegrown player there. But if we could sign him and play him on the right, which we know he's comfortable doing, I think that balances it out. I think Bradley Locke is one that I would really, really like.
And 1 to 10 for Ibrahim Osman.
Well, look, I'm going to give a bit of a shout out to F Talent Scout on Facebook, because they do a little write up, and just to give people a bit more context about him, they do a rating of 1 to 10 of players, and they do a comparable player as well. They gave him an 8.5 for potential, and they compared him to Vinicius Jr. So that is a big, that's a big statement. And I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going to say an 8.5. I'd be really excited for it. And I think in comparison to Ben Rama on that left-hand side, he's going to give us something that we haven't seen for a long time.
Yeah, I'll let you off with your half mark. If you were going to, I'd say no. I don't like half marks because my theory is I would just do 1 to 20 then, wouldn't I? And you would just give me 17. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'll let you off this one time since it's your.
You're very kind. You're very kind.
Also, that as well as a letdown, I can also be very kind. And lastly, Callum Wilson, ex-West Ham employee, did an update yesterday and said that the West Ham were interested in potentially trying to get Callum Wilson. I believe it's on loan, but the link to Callum Wilson was there. Now, on first glance, you think, no chance. But I think when you step back and remove emotion from it, I think you start to almost convince yourself, well, maybe there's a small chance. It's just Newcastle doing business with West Ham. It's the issue given where we are in the league. But in regards to Newcastle needing to sell and West Ham needing a striker, I think both of those boxes are ticked. Would you like to see Callum Wilson at West Ham?
Look, like is a very interesting word. I'm not sure I'd quite use it in this context, but we do need a goal scorer. He is undoubtedly that, and if it does anything, it removes the chances of him scoring against us, which he always bloody does. So it's one that the more I think about it, the more I'm kind of coming round to it, especially if it's a loan deal. I think if we can potentially move Danny Ings on in the summer and then replace him with Wilson, I think that's an upgrade, especially for how we play. But look, we're going to have a podcast pair up top, aren't we? We're going to have Antonio and Wilson in the same side and battling it out for a place. So if that doesn't motivate them, I don't know what will. I'm not excited by it, but hey, if it stops him scoring against us and maybe gets a few goals and we've got quality in depth before the season ends, then yeah.
So I'll all move yes, a permanent move.
If he does well on the loan, then yeah, fair enough.
Anyway, I'll reserve my thoughts till tomorrow, and then that's a dramatic enough cliffhanger to get you to tune back in Damage Chat tomorrow. But for the few of you that care, I will give my opinion on Callum Wilson rumour tomorrow. If you want to hear and see more from Steve, or Sloth, as some of you might know him on Twitter, I'll put the link to his personal Twitter account in the description below, but you can see him and hear him all on Babbling Irons YouTube channel. I'll put a link to that YouTube channel in the description below in the pinned comments as well, along with the store link. If you fancy some discounted merch, but also their latest video will be on your screen in approximately 10 seconds. But if you enjoyed this video, please do drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up, subscribing to Hammers Chat as well. And Steve, thank you once again.
Always a pleasure, and thank you for having me.